And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, as today I wanted to go over my top 10 wide receivers heading into next year of the college football season. Let's talk about it. All right, so before we get into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're at 242. We're trying to get to 250. We're at the quarter of the way to 1,000, so we're 8 away. So we're one of the 8 people to help us get there. That would be amazing. Also, remember, if you like today's show, before you leave, please hit the like button. Also, when this video comes out, I'm trying to think what, because I'm on vacation when this comes out. I'm trying to think what day. This comes out Thursday, which means on Wednesday we're having the number one team in college. Who should the number one team in college football be when it comes out? It's going to be on the channel on Wednesday. It really should have came out, I think, yesterday. So go watch that video if you have not already. But I want to go over my top 10 wide receivers in the sport. So starting off at 10, he was a freshman last year at Michigan. That is Andrew Marsh. And if you have not paid attention to Michigan, maybe you don't know who that is. He is a 6-foot freshman. He had 45 receptions for 651 yards, 4 touchdowns. And really, for Michigan having 14.5 yards per reception, I actually think is impressive with that scheme for what Sherrone Moore was doing. I really liked Andrew Marsh. He had a lot of spectacular catches. And obviously, Bryce Underwood, he does once every game, he will shoot 1 to 2 amazing seam throws or like on a rope, dimes, crossbody. And Andrew Marsh and him and McCauley were really the only 2 guys that were productive on this Michigan offense that stayed healthy. And I definitely think he can take a step up. We'll see what Kyle Whittingham wants to do with Underwood. I don't know if he'll have the production to be a top 10 receiver this year, but I definitely think as a talent, Andrew Marsh out of Michigan. It's weird having a Michigan receiver in the top 10, but I definitely think that he should be a top 10 receiver. At 9 and 5 have the same predicament. So at 9, I have the Ohio State Z receiver, or the second receiver. Really, from what I've seen from practice, I have Chris Henry Jr. But if Chris Henry Jr. is not starting at Z, or he's not behind Devin McKeown at Z, he's behind Jeremiah at X, and he's not really going to play that much, then I just don't think he's having the production. And I think Devin McKeown could definitely substitute as a top 10 receiver. And really, whoever's starting aside from Jeremiah is a top 10 receiver. Look at Abuka, look at Carnell, look at Abuka when Marv was here, look at Marv when Garrett or JSN was here. Like, it's always the second Ohio State receiver is always a top 10 receiver. And even for Devin McKeown, he has the stacks to back it up, even though he came from UTSA, 8 touchdowns, over 700 yards on 65 receptions, and was tied 23rd in touchdowns. And he was a fast receiver at UTSA. And I definitely think under new wide receivers coach Cortez Hankton, that if it's not Chris Henry Jr., the true freshman 6'5", then I definitely think it can be Devin McKeown. So at 8, and a guy that was number 2 last year at the beginning and has fallen all the way to 8, he is a former college football video game cover. That is not Ryan Williams, but Ryan Coleman Williams. He had a very down year compared to his freshman year. If you look at his freshman year stats, he had over 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, 18 yards per target. Now, he actually had one more reception at 49 instead of 48, but had under 700 yards, 14 yards per reception, and only 4 touchdowns. So we definitely did see a drop-off. There was maybe, I don't really know what happened. He really struggled with drops. You remember that Georgia game, literally dropped a wide-open 60-yard touchdown. So I think he's really fell off. I've seen some practice photos videos, and yes, it's practice, but I definitely think that this is his money year. He might come back for his senior year, especially if Keelan Russell is starting, and he's going to be starting next year. I definitely could see Ryan Williams coming back for his senior year, but I definitely think Ryan Coleman Williams could be a top 10 receiver if he wanted, if he really put the work in. I think he became kind of an internet sensation, and maybe that kind of got to him. So I definitely think now in the money year, they want to make the NFL money if he can get out 3 and out this year. So I think he can put the work in with a talented quarterback. Now, remember, Isaiah Horton and Jeremy Bernard are both gone. So Coleman Williams is your number 1 receiver. At 7, I have Deuce Robinson out of Florida State. He was a good receiver last year. 56 receptions, over 1,000 yards, almost 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, and almost 20 yards per average of target. And that is top 10 in the country in a category like that, plus being over a 1,000-yard receiver. And he's 6'6", 222, so an absolutely huge skyscraper of a dude. And if you look at the biggest games last year, that was the thing where he struggled. He didn't really show up in a lot of the biggest games last year. Games like Alabama, 2 receptions for 18 yards. Against Miami, 6 for 87. Against Clemson, he did have 9 for 124. Did not score at all. Then against Florida, 3 for 60. So kind of struggling on the touchdown. Only 6 touchdowns for the whole year. That's not a ton, and a lot of them came in garbage time games. But I don't really know what their scheme was. The scheme for a lot of the year was just give it to, what was their quarterback's name? The transfer from Boston College. It was, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Hold up. It's early in the morning. Tommy Castellanos. Yes, I remember you now. Tommy Castellanos. He was, again, run all over the place. Not really going to throw. Not a great arm. He could actually throw off balance really well. But yeah, I got Deuce Robinson at 7. And really, he's like NFL talented. Don't think he'll be that great this year just because, like, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback for FSU? I don't think anyone good. I don't think FSU is going to make the playoff or anything. Maybe they can make a bowl game, but that seems like an impossible task for them recently. At 6, and I've seen some people say this might be the best receiver in the SEC. It might be A&M fans, but I got Mario Craver. Mario Craver stepping into that role that Casey Concepcion left after he went to the NFL draft. And now Mario Craver, who really was a 1-2 punch with Casey Concepcion last year. 59 receptions, almost 1,000 yards, 917, 4 touchdowns, 15.5 yards on average per target. And I really like where he is. My only thing is he's 5'9", 165, but he's returning his quarterback last year, so any of that chemistry that we saw, especially in that Miami game, I know they only scored 3 points, but especially in that Miami game, I definitely think could come back. And I do like Mario Craver, and I like the kind of aired out scheme in that A&M is running, and I definitely think that Mario Craver will be a top 10 receiver, and I think he's going to be the second best receiver in the SEC. At 5, I have Cam Coleman. Or no, I don't. No, I don't. I lied. I'm sorry. I have Charlie Becker at 5. Charlie Becker, out of Indiana, last year won the national championship, was great at the back shoulder fade. I hate this dude. I hate Charlie Becker. I think he's annoying. I think he's pretentious. I think he's entitled. I don't like him. Don't like him at all. But he is a really good receiver. I've seen photos from their camp, spring practice, and he looks really, really good. Last year, only 34 receptions, under 700 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns, but 20 yards on average. That's 7th in the country. Really good from him. If you remember in that Indiana game, I'm seeing a highlight right now. I mean, he just goes up. His balance is incredible. He can just go anywhere, catch anything, anywhere. And really what I said for number 9, for like Chris Henninger and Devin McKeown, it's like whoever's actually starting is going behind Jeremiah is going to be the top 10. Same thing with Charlie Becker. I do think Charlie Becker is going to be a top 10 receiver, but if Nick Marsh is starting and Charlie Becker doesn't really get as many receptions, I don't know if he will be. I think Charlie Becker is more talented than Nick Marsh, but it's kind of like Charlie Becker / Nick Marsh. Whoever's going to get more, whoever's going to start at X, or whoever's going to be featured more. So, yeah, I got Charlie Becker at 5. At 4, I have Cam Coleman out of Texas, and he came from Auburn last year, and with terrible quarterback play, had 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. Remember, Cam Coleman was the third head of the monster of this freshman recruiting class in 24, where it was Jeremiah, Ryan Williams, and Cam Coleman. Those were the 3 receivers in that kind of class, and they were all together. Then Jeremiah shot up, and then Ryan Williams shot up, and it's like, oh, is Ryan Williams up there with Jeremiah? His sophomore, he really wasn't. Really, he went below Cam Coleman, but Cam Coleman has had better stats with worse quarterbacks, And now that Texas with Arch Manning, this will be the best receiver that Texas has had since Matthew Golden. I think he's going to be better than Matthew Golden back in 24. So, yeah, again, sophomores, he's 6'3", 200, typical big threat X dominant receiver, typical NFL frame we've seen. Maybe you want to see him a little bit heavier, but like not everyone could be 6'3", 225 like Jeremiah. So I definitely like Cam Coleman out of Texas at 4. I think he's the best receiver in the NFL. At 3, I got Malachi Toney, and really, I think Cam Coleman and maybe even Charlie Becker should be above Malachi Toney, because Malachi Toney had 109 receptions. That was first in the country out of any wide receiver, or really any receiver. 1,200 yards, that's 5th. 10 touchdowns, that's 12th. But 11.1 yards on average. That's outside of the top 150. And I've been saying it, he's a glorified running back. I'm going to throw you in the slot, and we're going to use your speed. So, I don't know. He's not a traditional receiver. I'm not going to put you at the top or at number 2 if you're not a traditional receiver, but he's super fast, super talented as a freshman. He's only 5'11", but I do like I do like his speed, and I do like his instincts, because, man, if you look in that Ole Miss game, what was his stats? He had 5 for 81 and a touchdown, but 16.2 yards per average, and that was coming from the line of scrimmage. He was making 16 yards every time he got the ball from the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. That is incredible, which is why he's at 3, but I'm not putting you any higher because you don't actually play like an actual receiver. At 2, and a guy that y'all are sleeping on, absolutely sleeping on, KJ Duff out of Rutgers. Yeah, a Rutgers receiver at number 2. KJ Duff, I watched the Penn State game. Watch the Penn State game when he played. He had an incredible catch. He's been doing it all year. KJ Duff, he's a sophomore. 6'6", 225, 60 receptions, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, 18.1 yards on average. He balled out. Look at his last couple of games against Penn State. 5 for 127 and a touchdown. Against Purdue, 6 for 241 yards and a touchdown. Against Illinois, 9 for 93 and a touchdown. I don't know why he's still at Rutgers. He should have transferred to Ohio State last year, because if he did, imagine that. You have 6'3", 225 Jeremiah, 6'6", 225 KJ Duff, 6'5", 200-pounded Chris Henry Jr. That would have been crazy. But I love KJ Duff. He's going to be so good in the NFL. Not many people are recognizing him right now. He's still somewhat underground. I don't get it. KJ Duff is the second best receiver in college football. And at number 1, we all know who's number 1. Of course, Jeremiah Smith Jr., 6'3", 225. He's going to be a junior next year. 87 receptions, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 14.3 yards on average. And that was a down year. That was considered a bad year, having almost 1,300 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns, because he had over 1,300 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns his freshman year. He also didn't play in 2 games. That was a big part of it, and the national title team went farther in the playoffs than he did. So he really only played, 14 games? He really only played in 12 games, while his freshman year he played in 16 games. So I definitely think that is part of it, but obviously there was some stuff that we think might have regressed, and even he knows it. He said there was no juice in an interview, so they're going to work on it. His junior year, he's going to dominate so much. I am so excited to see Jeremiah Smith in his final year before he goes to the NFL draft, because y'all are not ready. And if you take him away, we'll fire to Chris Henry Jr., we'll fire to Devin McCollum, we'll fire to Brandon Inniss. And it does suck we don't have Max Clare, we don't have Carnell anymore, but we got some monsters behind him with Cortez Hankton, the new wide receivers coach. But yeah, that's my list. That's my list for the top 10 wide receivers in the sport. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed today's show. Also, please hit the like button if you enjoyed today's show. It means the world to me. All my videos that get likes get recommended way more than the videos that don't. Also, let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Let me know down in the comments also, who is the number 1 receiver in the country not named Jeremiah Smith? We all know it's the number 1 is Jeremiah. Aside from Jeremiah, who is the number 1 receiver? Is it Cam Coleman? Is it Charlie Becker? Is it Malachi Toney? Is it KJ Duff? Let me know. But again, that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys all tomorrow. And as always,